No, your physique doesn't suck because you're missing out on some micro adjustment on your training. Despite what people like to parrot online, science and even anecdote to an extent, but science mainly, continuously confirm one thing. The details are not as important, at least for building an appreciable amount of muscle, as many make them. For example, you can train to failure or leave a few reps in reserve and make the same gains. Rest periods are not really a big deal for gains. Sure, resting less may lead to less gains, but the effect is relatively small. You can make amazing gains with low volumes, minimum effective dose, TM, just a few sets per week. That's all you need to make substantial gains. Including the stretch when lifting makes sense, but that could literally be you performing exercises like a normal person, like you see on a textbook, without going super deep or doing anything crazy. Also, you don't need to train muscles multiple times per week. You can use machines or free weights or both to make gains. You can do high, low reps, whatever. The list goes on. The reason your physique sucks comes down, at least in my humble opinion, mainly to the following reasons. 1, your expectations for your physique are extremely unrealistic. Don't worry, there's a couple of things you can do to massively alter your physique, but I'll touch on them later in the video. However, as much as I hate to say it, genetics are a thing, and most people won't manage to achieve the physique that is up to the standards of the average fitness TikTok consumer who's used to seeing the top genetic freaks that are on PEDs and post only complimenting videos and pictures of their physiques. You must slap yourself and reset your standards if you ever want to look yourself in the mirror and feel good about your physique. As a natural lifter, you won't always look jacked in clothes, and depending on how genetically blessed you are, you may also just look athletic or trained without clothes. And that is fine. You are still miles ahead of the average individual, and most sane people just see someone who is fit and muscular. Take, for example, rugby players, MMA fighters, and in general people who are fit but are not lifters per se. Their physiques would get too fat or do you even lift comments in our stupid world. Outside our toxic echo chamber, they're considered jacked monsters. Physique inflation is real, so stop falling for it. Take me as an example. Mind you, this is just to demonstrate my point. My N=1 isn't proof or scientific evidence, although I do occasionally send journals a PDF with me posing accompanied by an email saying, here's your citation. This is me at roughly 200% at 10% body fat based on DEXA. Yeah, okay, whatever, it's not 10, it's 12, it's 20, it doesn't matter. Visible six-pack and a pretty lean for general standards physique. And I have done it all. Non-stop lifting for nearly 15 years now. I'm talking maybe at most 5 or 6 weeks off of lifting in those 15 years. And I've done everything every school of lifting will tell you you need to get maximally strong. Gone pretty strong at all lifts. 5-plate squats 4 reps, 2-plate overhead press 4 reps, 6-plate deadlift 4 reps, 3-plate bench 4 reps, full stacking machines. I've trained with high volumes, low volumes, moderate volumes, years of bulking, close to failure all the time now. Lots of protein every day for the past 12 years. 8 hours of sleep at night, creatine, lengthened partials, which actually gave me all my gains. High reps, low reps, you get the point. And I'd argue that I have good, not elite genetics. If I was to compare myself to some of the people on Instagram or YouTube who have elite genetics, and maybe they have both, or are on PEDs, I'd be feeling like shit, despite doing literally everything you're supposed to do to get jacked. To make things worse, some of those people are 10 or maybe even more years younger than me and have been lifting for only a handful of years. And mind you, I regard myself and many of my close friends as truly blessed to respond to the way we have to lifting, which is another reality check. Even some of the non-elite physiques you see on your feed are still physiques of people with good genetics. Not the best, but good. And something everyone seems to ignore is that seeing someone alone flexing in good light doesn't reflect how they look in real life. Some of the elite natty physiques you see, especially when super lean, would look tiny in real life next to a fat, for fitness standards, natty powerlifter, for example. So please, for the love of God, whenever your brain goes, but look at him or her, instantly snap out of it. It doesn't matter. Are you more jacked than when you started? Yes, then good. That should be all that matters to you. Also, as I mentioned, you're likely not missing out on much if you're consistently training hard and performing a few different exercises. Sure, you can always optimize this and that, but remember, suboptimal doesn't equal ineffective. Even a suboptimal split on paper may still get you 90% of the way there. Stop looking for the next hack. Stop being mad at science-based lifting for not giving you the hack. Stop consuming the same content over and over again in hope of finding the one thing you're missing out. Stop overcomplicating or overthinking your training to an absurd neurotic extent. lift the fucking weight up and down for 10 years, do your due diligence, and the rest is up to your genetics. Obviously, make sure you're not eating 1 calorie per day and that you're sleeping, but the rest are details and they're not what will keep you from getting jacked. Those details matter to the freaks that will care about the tiny details when they look at their pictures and they're comparing, but it's not what will separate them from looking jacked versus not jacked. Please keep that in mind. All that aside from adjusting your standards, one way though to make your physique instantly better, especially as a natty, is unfortunately to cut. I carried the chonker flag proudly for a while, but it's a sad reality that getting leaner will highlight your gains much more than if you're fluffier. For my aesthetic standards, it's slightly different as I find bulkier physiques cool looking too, but I get that for many of you the game is different. If you're somewhere around 20 to 25% body fat, going on a 12 to 16 week cut is likely going to make a drastic difference on your physique without actually taking that much time or effort. I've made a couple of videos on the topic, so feel free to check them out. Lastly, your physique may also suck for the exact opposite reason. You're consistently cutting and going over very short periods of weight gain, essentially spinning your wheels for years. If that's you, try to commit to a very long conservative bulk. I also have a video on the topic, pretty comprehensive, so go check it out. But yeah, your physique probably doesn't suck as much as you make it out to be. Find ways to remain consistent with your training, whether that's by using the minimum effective training dose or by using our app, MyAdapt, which is like a smart coach in your pocket, or even by hiring this guy by going to DRPAK.com. I've earned the 2 plugs, don't complain. In all seriousness though, fall in love with lifting, do it forever, and as long as you're ticking the basic boxes of training and nutrition, the rest is more or less out of your control.